Today I will show you how to make dual boot between Ubuntu and Windows. Have you tried turning it off and on again? So you have your Windows 11 installed. I'm not gonna bore you how to install your Windows 11 of course, but I have a PC that I'm going to use. So we assume that we have a Windows 11 installed and now we need to install the Ubuntu after that. And that is the right order to do it. You should not install Ubuntu first and then Windows 11 because it will mess up the booting order. And how to make Ubuntu, I'm going to show you really fast how to do it with a USB device. So you will go to etcher.balena.io if you're just going to use one ISO file. There are some other different types of programs, but this is by far the most streamlined one. We will start by downloading the file. And here we can see we go with download on the top right one. I am downloading it right now in the top right. And then we will open the exe file. And it's a typical installer, there's nothing fancy to it. And as I already have it installed, it will not go through the actual installation. So the only thing we need to do here is press flash from file. And yeah, we actually need a file. Here we can just search download Ubuntu. And you make sure you are on the official site, ubuntu.com. Here we have a green download button. And it's about 6 gigs, so it's a fairly big size. Hit download. It will start to download automatically. I have the ISO file already, so I will hit X here, close down the browser, and I will select flash from file. And here is my Ubuntu complete ISO file. I will hit open, and then I will do select target. I will select the flash device, and yeah, just hit flash. And here we can see it's starting up, and it will only take a couple of minutes. I will fast forward so you don't have to see everything here. It has now started flashing the device and we can actually see the speed and the ETA when it will be ready. Okay, so the flashing went fine. We can see flash completed, successfully target, and we can even see the effective speed. Now I will head over to my Windows machine and we will go on from there. Okay, so I have now booted up my Windows machine. We can now go into the File Explorer to see the actual drive that we are using. It's a small drive, it's a 64 gigabyte. And we can see that it's 40 gigabytes free, and that's a bit important when we're going to dual boot, so we know how much gigabytes we have free for the Ubuntu volume. We can now close this one. You can now reboot the Windows 10 because we're going to boot from the USB that we just did. If you're unsure how to get into your boot menu, you can right click on the start menu, go to terminal admin, go down to C:, and here you can type shutdown -R for a restart, /FV for going into BIOS. But usually when you restart, you hit one of the function keys, escape, delete, but it can be different depending on what manufacturer you have on your PC. But by doing this, we can actually go directly to the BIOS from Windows, so that's pretty cool. /T for time, 0 for time 0, and I will hit enter. And we should be going directly into the boot menu for this computer. We are now in the boot manager. Here we can see that on top we have Windows Boot Manager. And here we have the SATA drive. So this is the one I'm going to boot from now. This is, in my case at least, the USB drive. It will look different on most computers, but you look for the one that you think is the USB drive with the Ubuntu on. I will hit enter here. And now we are in the GRUB bootloader. I will select try or install Ubuntu, and it's not a bad idea to try it out first so you can see that everything is working out as expected on your PC. The Ubuntu is now loading directly from the USB. And this is not the installation, it's actually going to run Ubuntu live from the USB. You can see that it's preparing a bit. Welcome to Ubuntu. So I will just have it do its thing. Here we can choose our language. I will just go through this fast. Some accessibility features. Next. keyboard layout, and for me it's not English. I am Swedish, hence the name the Swedish Sysadmin, so I will select the Swedish keyboard. Hit next. I will use a wired internet connection. I'm not going to update the installer. I will hit skip. Here we can install or try Ubuntu. And I will select try Ubuntu because it's not a bad idea before installing it. Here we can see the internet seems to work out just fine. I do want to check that I have internet connectivity so I can use the browsing features and everything like expected. The browsing looks fine, and how about typing on my keyboard, and especially in my case, my different Swedish letters seems to work fine. I will close the browser, and now we can see on the desktop there should be install Ubuntu. I will double click on that one, and again we will choose these different options. I will just go through them fast because we have already selected that one. And now it asks us how we would like to install Ubuntu, or an interactive or automated installation. We don't have any automated installation files, so I will go with interactive. The default selection, I would recommend choosing install the software for your graphics and Wi-Fi, and also some media formats. This is a fast video, so I'm not going to do it in this video. I will hit next. Here we can see it asks us how do you want to install Ubuntu. This is of course very important when dual booting. It says pretty clear install Ubuntu alongside Windows Boot Manager. So that is exactly what we want to accomplish with dual boot. So we will select that one and next. And here we will get the crystal clear slider for how much of the storage we want to use. And we can see that it doesn't let us use more than 45 gigs, and that was the amount that was free on the 64 gigabyte disk. I'm okay with something over 20 gigs, so maybe 25 gigs for the Ubuntu. In this case is fine. I will hit next. Here we type our name and the password. Make sure all the check marks are green. I will require password, not use Active Directory. Hit next. Select the time zone. Hit next. And review your choices. Looks fine to me. Hit install. After a couple of minutes, we can see that the installation is now complete. We can continue testing, but we want to restart so we can see that the dual boot is working. We'll hit restart now. After the restart, we land in the GRUB bootloader. We have an option for Ubuntu and we have an option for Windows. Let's try the Ubuntu first. Before we were running on the live USB stick, so let's go to Ubuntu to make sure that the dual boot is working for that one. So we are loading right into Ubuntu. There's a welcome screen where we can configure a bit more. But yeah, this looks really fine. Let's put in some info into here and the password. And we are all done. I will not use Ubuntu Plus or Pro, and I do not want to share any system data. So the Ubuntu booted up right. There was no problem at all. We can see the home directory, and yeah, this looks fine. Now let's check if the Windows 11 that was already on the drive still is booting up fine. We will hit restart right now. It goes to the GRUB bootloader. Before it times out, let's go to Windows Boot Manager, else it will select the top one, that is Ubuntu. But let's select Windows here. The Windows logo is a good sign. Here is the login. Let's put the password, and we can now see that it is booted into Windows. If you're curious about the disk, right-click on the Start menu, go to Disk Management. Here we can see the different volumes. So we are now on the Windows, that's about 40 gig. And here is the new Ubuntu volume that is about 24. That was dual boot Windows and Ubuntu. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Bye bye.